The ego war between the Sports Ministry and the BCCI has gone a notch further. None of India's World Cup winning cricketers will be getting the Arjuna or the Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna Award this time round. In fact, they will not be even available for contention, as names of cricketers haven't even been forwarded, all due to an ego clash between the BCCI and the Sports Ministry. Now, as the deadline for the respective sports association to send the names of the candidates is over, it has now been found that the BCCI hasn't sent any names at all, despite the fact that in the year 2011, the senior cricket team won the World Cup and the likes of Virat Kohli were one on top of run getters in the ODI cricket as well. Now the board has put the blame solely on the Sports Ministry's shoulders for this entire mess. BCCI Secretary Sanjay Jagdale has said that unlike every year, no forms were received by the board for nominating cricketers for Arjuna and Khel Ratna awards. Now the Sports Ministry though has writ back, saying the allegations are baseless. Clearly a case of an ego war brewing between the BCCI and Ajay Markan's men is the cause of all of this. With Markan in fact acting rather pricey, the BCCI is sulking with the ego war clearly hurting the cricketers. Now this is the latest breaking news that we're tracking at this juncture. No cricketers this year will either be getting the Arjuna or the Arjuna Award or the Khel Ratna. And joining us more on the story is my colleague Rajiv Gandhi. Rajiv, facing the brunt of this ego clash between the Sports Ministry and the BCCI is nothing but the cricketers there.
Yes, extremely sad and ironical, that at a year when India won a cricket World Cup, for which the nation had waited for 28 years, at a time when, Virat Kohli is clearly one of the outstanding, one-day players of our time, of his age, or for that matter, any other cricketer would have been in contention for the national awards, which cricketer does not want to be, rewarded, beyond the cricketing stage at a national level. And, it's clearly a case between the tussle between the two federations, the BCCI and the Sports Ministry. There have been no nominations. Yes, there is no rule, that there be a form which is made to the BCCI, but it's been a convention, and the BCCI has a point when they say that. But there are also ex-sportsmen that we've been speaking to who suggest that perhaps the BCCI could have been magnanimous, and had there been a line of communication between the ministry and the BCCI, and I think that is a more concerning point, that there is no line of communication between the BCCI and the Sports Ministry, and both of them have been busy taking pot shots at each other, and in this situation, obviously, the sportsmen have had to suffer.
Rajesh, it's common knowledge there is no love lost between the Sports Minister Ajay Markan or the BCCI, but this time things have gone just a little too far.
Yes, they have. The cricketers, like I said, at stake is a cricketer which would have perhaps been called an Arjuna Award winner for the year 2012. That is a situation that how often can a player maintain have a rich runoff on. For example, in case of someone like Virat Kohli, he might just have had a purple patch for the past year. That may not be the case next year around, and it would only be the board and the ministry and the problems within them and amongst them, for which he may have missed out on an award. It's clearly a situation which is trying to be resolved, and there's been there's no end to the whole tussle in the days to come.
But even now the blame game continues, Rajesh, because the BCCI is saying it is the fault of the Sports Ministry. They have unnamed forms, and on the other hand, the Sports Ministry is putting its hands up and saying it's all the BCCI's fault.
Yes, the BCCI has only minutes back, sent out a press release, explaining exposition that they're saying is that all these years they've been receiving forms formally by the Sports Ministry, and because there have been none of them received this year around, there's nothing that they could have done, and then there is no nomination. But obviously the board knew that the deadline was passing over, and then like I mentioned earlier, if there was a line of communication, even at a subordinate level, if not so much between the Sports Minister and the board president, if there was a line of communication at the subordinate level, which is often the case between federations and issues are to be resolved, then it would not have come down to the situation that we find themselves in.
All right, Rajiv Gandhi, getting us the very latest from the state of breaking news. Another ego clash between the BCCI and the Sports Ministry, but getting the short end of the stick is nothing else but the hapless cricketers who will not even be in contention for the Arjuna Award or the Khel Ratna. We'll get your reactions on that story.